that was our last formal talk for the evening, and I hope that everyone found that just as moving, as humbling as I did, and a reminder how we can all reach out and play our part in helping our fellow human being, even when others don't do that. So I do encourage you to, I know people have already given, but I do encourage people to go to the back, buy some cards, buy a piece of cake, and to raise some important funds for people that are not as fortunate, as lucky as us, because I think we don't have to reach far into our imaginations to actually think that we as a country, where we would have had relatives, grandparents who would have lived in very similar circumstances, would not have had the health care and the facilities that we enjoy today. So I think that's a really important message, and thank you for bringing that to us, and also thank you for Chris for dedicating his time and also his funds to that. So I've had a request from David of Ria, who'd like to say a few words in closing. He promises he's going to be short. I don't believe him.
Thanks, Johannah. I will try and keep it short. This is completely ad-libbed, but looking around the room this evening, I thought it was probably a great chance to hand out some thanks and recognition for the state of innovation in the rail industry in 2021. So hot off the presses, the survey that you referred to, Francis, is going in the right direction. When we publish this year's numbers, they will be more positive despite COVID. So I think that's really good. I want to acknowledge what those in the room have done to help build the position that we find ourselves in now, which I very much think is a glass half full situation, if not 3/4 full. So Chris, for example, in policy terms at DFT, he set the scene for the landscape that we have now. So credit where credit's due, Chris. You laid the ground. Meanwhile, Francis in RIA was making innovation a word in the rail industry, and making that recognised as something that was important and we should think about. Heavily involved in the RTS, established our first RIA Innovation Conference, which I thought was a great conference when I used to go as a guest and have to run the bloody thing. And Jim at the back, who established the Unlocking Innovation Scheme and wrote a small document, the rail strategy, the rail sector, what they call rail supply group, which is a fantastic document. Just a shame they then went off in another direction, but hey ho. But Jim, that scheme is going strongly, and in the same era, Richard, the KTN were fantastic collaborators. Particularly in your era, it was really strong collaboration. We then established a thing called the Future Railway Programme, which Trevor and Howard were involved in with me. That laid, I think, a lot of groundwork, and many of the things that we initiated then, almost 10 years ago, this shows the gestation period of innovation, are now bubbling through and getting implemented, which is really positive. And then we have, in the firmament, we've got the Rail Innovation Group and many other initiatives, which just shows collectively we've created a landscape that is nurturing innovation. And if you look at the amount of innovation funding that is available for within the industry now, I don't think, Francis, you could have imagined that. We're talking about just public sector, probably getting up to $500 million. Things like Ukraine, you mentioned Ukraine. I was involved in helping put that bid together, and that at one stroke killed the urban myth that the supply chain don't invest in innovation, because there was 60 million quid on the table to get 30 million quid of government funding, and all those centres are now open and they're fantastic. You should go and look at those. So I just want to leave you, with a positive note, because pretty much everybody in the room, I think, has played a pivotal role in getting us to where we are now. So I think you should give yourselves a round of applause.
So once again, I'd like to thank the speakers. Bar's open, please drink lots more. You can order food and, of course, eat cake. So thank you very much for coming, and thank you to our speakers.